welcome to Sprinkle with Hope podcast. This is your host, Jason, and today we got an awesome guest going to talk about a subject that might be hard for some to talk about, but here we go. Shane?
Our guest is Morgan Foutz. She's a community relations manager for Operation Underground Railroad, human trafficking. And we are so excited that she's going to join us. They're doing some great things, and we are very excited to have this discussion with her.
Welcome to the Sprinkled with Hope podcast.
This is Jason. And this is Shane.
And it's podcast time.
Welcome to our podcast. We are so excited to have a special guest with us today talking about some great things. We're very excited to learn some things from her and get to know her a little bit better and the organization that she works for.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. And we have a special guest with us, Morgan Foutz. She's the Community Relations Manager for OUR. Welcome to our show, Morgan.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind giving us just a little background of what you do and for OUR and where you fit into that organization.
Okay, so I am, like you said, a community relations manager. So I help a lot of the volunteers. So each volunteer, generally, if there's enough volunteers in their area, there's a team leader, and I help to facilitate events and train team leaders and things like that. So I'm mostly helping with the volunteer side of Operation Underground Railroad.
Gotcha. Okay. And how long have you been with OUR now?
So I started volunteering about a year ago, and then I became a team leader, and that's a volunteer position. And then I actually just got hired on this month as the community relations manager. So
awesome.
That's awesome. That's great. So what made you interested in getting involved in the organization?
So I learned about human trafficking in college I think it was 2012, 2011 when I found out about it. And it really just hurt my heart that this was happening. And back then there wasn't a lot of knowledge of what was going on. And at the time, OUR didn't even exist back then. They started in December of 2013. Okay. And so I kind of looked into human trafficking organizations, but there was nothing close to me. So I was starting my family, and I just I always thought about it, but I just didn't know how to help. And so last year, I worked for a long time for a really awesome company, but I just was overwhelmed and I couldn't keep up the workload. So I quit my job, and then I realized, I have time to really dedicate to volunteering. I wonder if there's any kind of organization now that, helps with human trafficking, or maybe I could start my own or something. Mm-hmm. And so I looked on Google and I found Operation Underground Railroad, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is like it. This is the place that I can go and help. And so I just dived right in, and I became a team leader really fast because I was just so passionate about it. And I've just been very involved ever since.
Wow, that's awesome. So what does it feel like to be a part of such a great organization such as OUR?
It's really an honor. First of all, I couldn't even believe that they had picked me. They said, hey, send me your resume. And I was just like, wow, they asked me to be a part of their organization. And it feels really good. There's a lot of jobs out there that do a lot of good things, but to me, this is the ultimate. This is my dream job, because
you're right.
It's just I get to save children every time I help with a fundraiser. I get to raise funds for a rescue.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. So you're not involved in you're more involved in the volunteer and those type of things. So how do we get involved if anyone were to be interested, how do we get involved?
That's a really good question. So we have a website. It's called ourrescue.org, O-U-R rescue.org. And on there you can sign up to be a volunteer. We have an abolitionist club, which is you just sign up to donate monthly, just a small percentage. I mean, some people do even $5 a month, but that actually makes a huge difference because then we can plan out our budget and our year and say, okay, we know we have this much money coming in. So there's the Abolitionist Club. You could do a one-time donation, going to events and helping with events, things like that.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've really loved OUR. I've gone to a couple of their events, and they're just so inspiring. I mean, Tim and what he's done is just amazing, right?
Yeah, he blows me away. He is like my hero. He's so amazing.
Yeah, he really is. Yep.
He has such a great
Go ahead, Jason.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I just love what he stands for, right? That these kids are left in a dark place and nobody's out there to help them, right? And so how, as we're either talking about such a dark subject, how do we find light, and how do we see that?
And that's another great question, and that's exactly what OUR focuses on, is the light, because it is such a dark subject. So how do you do that? Well, they have a blog on ourrescue.org that shows all of the success stories, and it shares like all of the wonderful things that are going on. Also, when I help and I am doing things to end trafficking, I actually feel a lot less hopeless about this issue. So, lots of people can feel bad about it or be like, yeah, this is a terrible issue, and just walk away. But if you just learn about it and become aware, and you can learn the signs of trafficking on that website, you can just look on the internet, and there are so many great organizations and places and information about trafficking, because the more that you become aware, the more that you can target the darkness with your own light. And that another thing that Tim says is, he always says, when people come up to him, they're like, what can we do? How can we combat this? And he always says, if you look inside yourself, you will be able to know more than I can know, because you know your talents and you know what you're good at. So, for example, I really enjoy public speaking and spreading awareness. So that's my talent. That's what I do to shine a light on the subject. And then the more people that know about it, the more that we can fight this ugly problem.
That is so great to hear. It really is a tough subject to talk about, and to recognize that it really is happening all over the place. I've really enjoyed the little that I know about the organization, but it is a tough subject. And Jason and I talk a lot about this, that even starting our podcast, it's about the one. So if we can help one person in the world, then it's worth it, right? I believe you're saying the same thing, that if you can help one child, then it's all worth everything, every effort that you've given.
Yeah, that's actually exactly our message. It all started with one child that Tim knew needed to be saved. And so that's actually something that we mention a lot, is, just saving the one. And have you ever heard of that starfish story where, there's this boy and he's throwing starfish into the sea. There's a whole bunch all over the beach, and he's picking up a starfish, and he throws one in, and somebody comes up to him and he's like, what are you doing? There's so many starfish. How are you? You're not going to save
Yeah.
them. And then he
Right.
goes, he picks it up and he throws one in, and he said it mattered to that one. Picks another one, it mattered to that one.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
So, that's really great. And I'm so happy that you're a part of that organization and helping, right? Bring your light to the world. We all have something to give. We all have something to provide to the world. And I'm so grateful that you're a part of that organization and doing what you can to shed your light to the world and to help these kids.
Thank you. Yeah, it's really, like I said, it's an honor to be a part of such a noble and wonderful organization. So
That's great. So Morgan, do you have any upcoming events that people might be interested in volunteering or attending or so forth?
yeah, so most of our events, like 99% of them are all done by volunteers.
Okay.
And so, yeah, if you want to volunteer and you want to set up an event, you can just go on to rsu.org and sign up, and then you can be like, I have this great idea, and we'll hopefully be able to approve it. And then you can get started right away. So a lot of the events that are going on right now, I think the soonest one that we have is on Monday, and
Oh,
it's
wow.
called Behind the Craft, our charity plus educational event, and that is in Linden at the Wild Oak venue, and it goes from 5 to 10, and actually Tim's going to be speaking at that event, and there's going to be some music, and if you go to rsu.org, you can even go to events and look at the different types of events that there are. And then we have several really fun ones coming up in September. There's going to be like a bikers rally in, it's called Harley's Biker Fundraiser, and it's for all the bikers. And that's going to be like September 25th and 26th. And then we have a spike ball tournament coming up. And then there's usually a fee associated with these, but all of the money goes towards OUR, and then OUR uses that money to do operations and aftercare, so that we can put the perpetrators in jail and then help to rehabilitate these survivors.
Yeah. That's great. I'm so excited. We got some events coming up, and we'll make sure to broadcast the word as much as we can. For those that want to be a part of that or be a part of those events, that they can do so. So how do, as a parent, because I got three boys, how do we see or recognize that, in them, some of these situations are, they're maybe getting trafficked? Because there's many different ways of trafficking, right?
Yes. Excuse me. So with, just within your family, it's really important to have discussions about internet safety. And it's really important to share with them, as soon as they're on a device, they should be learning about internet safety, even if they're tiny. Like if you have your kid on a tablet and he's 3, 4, 5 years old, you should just say, if you see a picture of somebody's privates, or if somebody's messaging you pictures of things that make you feel uncomfortable, or asking things that make you feel uncomfortable, you need to come to me right away. And I always stress to my kids, it's never your fault if something bad happens on the internet, because adults are the ones that are responsible. And so if somebody sends you something scary or makes you feel bad, talk to me. And there are lots of little books that you can buy that talk about internet safety and things like that. Another thing you can do is watch around your neighborhood. If there's men and women frequently coming and going all day to one certain house, you can kind of be like, what's going on there? Like, it looks like a business, or there's just something that's off. Also, I know I keep plugging the website, but ourrescue.org has a training that you can do. It's about 45 minutes. You just watch several clips of videos, and then you take a little test after you watch a 5-minute video. And then at the end, you can get a certificate on the signs of human trafficking. So
That's great.
yeah.
Yeah, that's really good information. I think we just have to be, like you said, very open and honest with our children and let them know they can come to us. And I love that you said we have to let them know it's not their fault. It's the adults in the world that are really wanting to take advantage of that, and it's not their fault. And so they hopefully feel more comfortable coming and talking to us. It's such a great organization. Really, it is. I see a difference that it's making. It's fairly new, like you had mentioned, but I really see the difference that it's making in the world. And so I personally appreciate what you and the organization are doing, and hopefully I can get more involved in the future.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, we're happy to do it. We're also sad that we have to, but we're happy to do it. So.
Yeah.
Right. Well, do you have any maybe last thoughts that you'd like to share with us that, in different ways that we can help or do things, or anything that you might want to add that we haven't discussed already?
I think I'll just say, if you are worried that someone is being trafficked, and if you see something, say something. And what you can do is call 911. You can also save the human trafficking hotline in your phone. And if you see something suspicious, it's better to report it and be wrong than to not report it and have missed an opportunity to save someone. So I think that's what I would say is become aware, learn the signs, save the number for the human trafficking hotline in your phone, and just spread awareness and find a way to shine your own light on this subject.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate this discussion. And again, what you and the organization are doing is fantastic.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you, Morgan. And I really appreciate it. And go and shine your light, and we will do the same.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This is Sprinkled with Hope. If you liked this episode, please share it with a friend.
If you like our podcast, please give us a review or rating.